Hey there, we're doing another screen painting today. Now, this is going to be my picture this time. Kind of like a wreath shape. And all I did was I printed it out on my computer at home and then ended up taping it together. Sorry it's so sunny. It was literally raining like 20 minutes ago. Now it's bright and sunny, but can't see me, but you can see what I'm doing, which is important. I'm going to put this on the inside of the screen and use it as a pattern. So kind of like a cheat sheet, but also kind of just makes it easier so we know what we're doing. I did hang what it's going to look like up over here just for, or so I can compare and contrast. But what I'm going to do this time is, if you remember from my last video, my picture fell off halfway through. So this time I'm going to try some painter's tape on both sides. Now you might wonder, why am I using painter's tape and not magnets or something? Well, because I was experimenting and I tried some magnets, and what I did was I put magnet on both sides of the piece of paper, but what happened is that the magnets were too strong. And when I tried to get the magnets off, what happened is I almost ripped the screen. So I decided magnets were not the way to go. I'm going to go with painter's tape. And I'm thinking I'm going to tape it in 4 places. So I'm pre-loading, pre-ripping my tape. So it's ready to go. So let's see how it's going to be. First, I want to figure out approximately what I want it to look like. Well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's completely up to me and the height and everything. That looks pretty good. So then I'm going to put a piece of tape here. And yes, whoop, that's not going to work. I'm on the wrong side. So then I'm going to kind of eye it up. You see what I'm doing? I'm taping this to this side of the screen. And I can kind of see my picture a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. All right, putting up a piece of painter's tape here. See if I like it. No, it's in the wrong place. I want to turn it more this way, I think. All right, let's see now. Yeah, maybe a little too much. Whoops, see, I'm already having painter's tape issues. All right, I'm going to pick a space and just say that's it. All right, getting my second piece of painter's tape. Now this might not work, and if it doesn't, I'm starting the video all over again, but let's see. Okay, I think we're good. All right. It's not that it's windy out here today, because it's the opposite of windy out here today. It's very, very hot. So what Joe did is he set up a fan for me. So that's what you see blowing. It's a fan, because it's really, really hot. All right, I'm going to stick this one up. Now I'm going over a little, oh, sorry, you can't even see what I'm doing. I'm going over a little bit of my picture, but it doesn't really make that much difference. I can figure it out as I'm going. That's the beauty about painting this. I mean, I'm using this as kind of like an idea, but I don't have to follow it exactly. I can do it any way I want to. And part of being an artist, not that I'm really an artist, I'm more of an art teacher actually. Part of that is, figuring it out as you go, changing it up, making it your own. So, all right, I think we're good. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of painter's tape. Something about it telling me put on a little bit more. You can see my screen moving in the wind here. I should stick one in the middle, but too late. There's no good place to put another piece. I guess here maybe? Doesn't matter. I'm not going to do it. I did notice that part of mine is folded up. Don't know why. So I actually am going to put a piece on this side because it's folded up. All right, and then one more piece out here. And I think we are good to go. Now, for the type of paint I'm using, you can use any type of, outdoor acrylic-y kind of paint, any kind of acrylic paint, anything that's going to dry to a plastic. Because what we want this to last. Now, over there is the other door. I don't think if you can see it. Hang on. Over there. Oops, sorry. Over there is the other door I painted last time. And you can still see that, where'd it go? That the paintings are still there. See, they're right like there, my sunflowers. But now we're going to do a bigger one. So we're coming back over here. But the point is you want to use a paint that lasts through weather. And that lasted through weather. I'm using the same pretty much paint I used before. And though I have tried some outdoor acrylic paints, this is literally just leftover interior house paint I have. I mean, latex paint dries to plastic, so I'm using what I got. All right, brushes. I had said in my last video, use stiff brushes. These are stiff brushes. See, they're not watercolor brushes. They're made for acrylic paint, so they're stiff. I have 3 different sizes. Kind of big, kind of medium, kind of little. I don't know which one I'm going to use. We're going to figure it out as we go. But first thing I want to do, always what you want to do first, is you want to do a base coat of white. Why? Because I want the yellows to pop, I want the greens to pop, and if I don't do the white first, it's going to look a little dull. I'm going to try the medium brush. And what I have here, I always use disposable plates. This isn't paper, it's plastic, but I use disposable plates for a palette because it just works for me. So all I'm going to do now is, I think I'm going to turn the fan off because my whole picture is moving around. At least turn it down low. Be right back. All right, we're going to try that. And I did put a drop cloth down below, and I have a table right over here. You can't even see it, but I have all my supplies on it. All right, so all I'm going to do is kind of give it a little bit of paint right where I'm going to want to put the other paint. And it's not long. It's pretty quick. Doesn't have to be exact. You can see that I'm putting the paint right where I want the yellow to be. And as you can see, I'm also brushing it on so that it's not really clogging up the holes. It's a little bit there that's clogged up. I'm going to try to keep brushing that till it goes away. You don't want to see clogged holes, because if you see clogged holes, it means it's going to show on the other side, and we don't want that. So it's just a light coat. And again, doesn't have to be exact. I'm surprised this screen is a little bouncy. It might be because I put those magnets on it, but it's just white paint, just spreading it out, doing its thing. I want to still be able to see my thing behind. And see, if I get a little bit of cloggy holes, I just kind of scrub it with my brush. Then I can see there's no holes clogged there. I know in my last video, some people said when they tried to do it, they had some issues. So I hope this is helping, just to show you. I'm just kind of scrub-a-dubbing it. Just really what we're doing. There's no magic to it. We're just painting one side of the screen, and we don't want the paint to soak through. So that's why I'm making sure that it's not. Now, it's getting a little cloudy here. I can't really see what I'm doing because of the fact I've got the white paint, but that's why I have the picture next to me over there, so I can see what's supposed to go where. I am trying to brush the way I'm going to do my final brush strokes, just because, I mean, it seems to make more sense to me. I mean, I've been teaching art to kids mostly for years and years and years, but you want it to kind of look painterly. So I'm not just going to like do a coloring book where you just kind of do it any which way you want. I'm following the lines that I want to put the paint on later. Thanks for staying with me this long. It'll get more interesting, I promise, once I start putting color on. But this one's bigger. And even if I was doing the whole screen like they used to do, well, they probably still do in Baltimore, which is screen painting where it all started, I would give the whole screen a coat of white paint too. But you see, I have nothing that's clogged up, because if I see anything that looks thick, I'm just brushing over it with my brush again. We don't want anything clogging it up, because otherwise there's no, illusion of the fact that you can't see what's on the other side. And again, I'm not being real precise. I'm just kind of following along. There's a little bit there that I got some clogs, so I'm going to let it dry for a smidge. Then just going to wipe it over. Again, you see, I'm not adding any water to my paint. This paint is a little runnier than I remember it being, but it seems to be working fine. Just going through it like this. It's getting very hot out here. We were trying to do this in the shade, but the sun was not cooperating. It was raining, and now it's not. But hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. I hope it's so bright I can barely see what I'm doing. Okay, again, I saw a couple little clogs, so I'm just going over it with my brush. It's okay if I miss a few. It's not an exact science, like I said. We want to just give it a painterly feel. And when I start doing this, I'm going to start from what's going to be in the background first. So I'm not going to do the sunflowers first. I know that sounds like backwards. Well, it is kind of backwards because I want to layer the things. So I'm going to do the leaves and the vines that I have coming up here first. And then I'm going to do the sunflowers last, because I want that to be the focal point. Now, again, I had a little bit of clog there, so I'm just brushing over it. And the fact that it's pushing away from the picture is good, because that way I can see that there's no clogs. All right, now I'm going down here. There's just a bunch of stuff. And I can see on my screen where it goes. Like, so you see, I'm just following a vine. And as I said, just got this picture off the internet. Now there's a lot of vines going here, so I might not do them all. I think I'm just going to do the bigger ones. And then when I go to paint it in, it'll be interesting because it'll have different, like, some will be dark, some will be light because of I didn't paint all the white on the background. But I'm okay with that. I mean, it's a work in progress, right? As an artist, you're allowed to take liberties. That's part of the fun of doing it, which is why it's not like I'm copying this. I'm using it as an idea, and yeah, it might be I'm copying it a bit, but you know, it's going to work out the way I want. All right, I think I'm good. A little bit down here, maybe. I've obviously poured out way too much paint. I don't need all this paint. Where the yellow is, I'm going to put the yellow. I'm going to put the white because I want that to show up. All right, now as I said, I'm going to start with the green and the brown, but I'm making sure that I don't have any clogs in my screen. So if I opened this right now, if I opened the screen door and took the pattern off, you shouldn't be able to see anything on the other side. So unfortunately, we can't tell till we're all done, but we shall see. All right, good enough. Now, I'm going to put that paint down, and now I have a palette. I'm just wiping my brush off on a piece of paper towel. Probably using the same brush. It felt pretty good. Maybe use the smaller one a little bit. I don't have any water out here, so, well, actually, that's not true. I have a little bit of water in my water bottle. But I'm going to leave that like that. All right, now I poured out some paint. Can you see it? I can't really lift it up too much. I have red, green, black, and yellow, and they all just kind of blended together. Looks like Kwanzaa, which is fine, but these are really all the colors I need to do this. I did put too much paint on this plate. Usually I would just mix it there, so I have an empty plate. So now we want to do brown, right? Actually, I'm going to start with the same white brush. So brown you get by mixing red and green. So I'm going to put, I don't know if I can do this standing up. I'm going to put a bunch of green on my plate. Now I've got a lot of brown to paint, but it's okay if I don't mix up enough to begin with because of the fact I want the brown to change colors as I'm going. Trees or vines are not all one color. All right, so I've got a bunch of green. Then to make brown, I just add some red. Let's see how it works. Putting my palette down, going for this. Okay, so it's kind of a grayish green, so I need more red. I'm just grabbing some red with my brush, mixing it in. Those of you who paint, this is basic. You know, for those who don't paint, it's kind of like magic. But you just keep adding the more the other color till you get the color you want. And brown is actually a really easy color to mix, though I should have started with more red and added a little green, obviously. Kind of did this one backwards. The color that's really hard to mix is purple. Red and blue should make purple. Rarely does. You usually end up with a gray. But we don't need any purple in this one. Okay, so I'm getting a brown now. Mixing it all in. It's a little light. So I'm going to add a touch of black because I have way too much black over there. Let's see what happens. All right, I don't think this paint's going to take me too far, but we're going to see. I'm also painting, like kind of wiping my brush back and forth because of the fact I want to make sure my ferrule, that is the silver part that holds the brush bristles in place, my ferrule doesn't drag like a solid green or something anywhere. Okay, we've got a brown. I've got a brown. That's a yellowier brown than I've got, but whatever. All right, so what I'm going to do, just taking off some extra paint, and I'm just going to put the browns in. Oh yeah, it's a nice light brown. It's fine. It's going to start looking pretty messy, and it's going to be hard to see what I'm doing, but I just have to trust the process, kind of. I'm following along pictures of the vines that are there. Probably should start in one place and work my way out. And it doesn't really even look like I'm putting anything on here because of the fact that it's a brown screen. But hopefully, when all's said and done, we'll be able to see it. If not, we'll rethink and come up with a new plan. But I might need to add some yellow on top of these, but that's okay. I can always go back in and do it. Yeah, literally, it looks like right now I'm painting the vines the same color as the screen. But we shall see. As I said, maybe it'll be great. Who knows? Again, I don't want to have any clogs, so if I see anywhere that's stuck, I'm just kind of going over it. And I can actually see where my white paint is. So I'm kind of just making sure I cover up that. It's really more of a scrubbing kind of a thing than an actual painting kind of a thing. It's weird. Now, while I have brown on my brush, I'm almost done with these, but while I have brown on my brush, I'm going to do the insides of the flowers because these are not black-eyed Susans because I couldn't find a picture of black-eyed Susan. So these are actually sunflowers. So they have more brown in the middle. They might morph into more of a black-eyed Susan at some point while I'm painting, but for right now, who knows? Just getting some of this on there. Oop. Thought it was dripping, but it's just the sun shining on it. All right, I want to make sure I go well enough into the flowers so I don't have to come back later and touch it up, because if you come back to touch it up, it's going to go on top of the yellow and it's not going to give the look that I'm going for. So I'm making sure I'm scrubbing all this brown right in where I want it to go. Just a couple little doohickeys here. All right. Looks pretty good. What do I got now? All right, it looks like I need some brown all around here. So I'm just going to scrub some brown in there. You see what I'm doing? Just right on top of the white. I can see my picture behind it. There's a bug tickling my chin. I'm just scrubbing the brown right in there. And again, I'm doing it the way that I want it to go. This is the final paint. I'm not going to give it another coat probably of brown. So never say never. Okay, so I've got the center of one sunflower there. There's a little bit in the middle, so I'm going to add a little squidgy squidge of that there. All right, now when I'm done, it's not going to look like that. It's going to look different, but this is the first layer, like I said. So now I'm adding some brown down here. So again, I can see it on my pattern. It's probably the best word for it. Underneath. So we've got a little bit of brown going there. There's some brown other places too, and I'll probably come back. This will still be good for a while, but it looks like there's a little bit, I can't really see what in the world I'm looking at there. A little bit around here, so we'll add a little bit there too. Again, you can just kind of wing it. Do it how you want to do it. All right. I'm thinking that's good for brown. Yeah, for now. All right. So now what other colors do we need? We need some yellow. All right. I think I'm just going to work off of this, even though there's a lot of paint here. I run the risk of spilling it all. Oh, nope, I was wrong. We need green first. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the same brush that I had the brown on. I'm going to add a little bit of green to it. This is a very bright green. I don't really want it that green. I don't want it muddy either. So, you know what? I'm going to change my mind what I just said. I'm going to start with some yellow. And you don't need a lot of paint, it seems. I'm going to add just a touch of green. Same palette. I'm just mixing it right here. My brush still has some brown on it. Doesn't matter. Now I don't have to get quite as precise in mixing it up because I want the varied shades of color. All right, so I'm adding some green leaves. And again, painterly. We're going for the painterly look. I'm covering up my white, adding in the leaves. At least I think I am. Looks a little yellow to me, but hopefully when all's said and done. But I can put some green over it too. I'll add some green to the middle of the leaves. They seem to have some like that. And then, well, again, I want to make sure I don't leave any clogs. So I see the paint's a little thick in places. So I'm just going back with my brush. And you don't have to worry too much, because if you get a little bit on the inside, I'll show you a way to get it off of there. All right, I'm going to add a little green down here. Like I said, you don't need a lot of paint, because in theory, you're only painting the very top little lines of the screen. So there's not that much there. All right, that seems to be it for green. Do I want green anywhere else? Oh, no, I got that one. I'm going to add a little bit more, I think, up here. I got a little more white showing. Once it starts to dry, you can kind of see what's going on there. Before it's a little trickier. I see I didn't get all the way to the outsides. Maybe I did. I don't know. We're going to see. All right, I'm going to add a little touch of green. Just sticking my brush into the green, putting it over to the side here, because I don't need a lot. Just want to add a little touch. So I'm going to add a little bit of greener green there and over there. Maybe a little bit up here, through the middle. I'm sure those of you watching who actually are landscape painters or floral painters will tell me I'm so doing this the wrong way. But that's okay, because, you know, if it makes me happy, I'm good. Somebody in the video I posted before said it reminds me, the person of, I think his name was Bob Ross, that painter, the guy with the big hair. Did you guys used to watch that? I remember watching him when I was a kid. All right, so I think we're good with the green. I don't know, should we add some over here? There isn't on theirs, but I kind of feel like I need a little green over here somewhere. I've got a little bit of white showing, so I think I'm going to add a little green over there so that way I don't have to go back in. I'm noticing that sometimes if I paint where there isn't any white, it looks like I'm doing a shadow. I don't know if I can see that at all, actually. Well, we'll find out, won't we? All right, now we're going to yellow. So I'm just going to pick up my other one that has all the colors on it. Way too much colors on it. But we're going to try it and see how it goes. All right, so we're starting in. Oh, I just saw where I had more green. Yeah, we'll get to it later. I'm going to start with the petals. So I'm doing it like this. Just putting the yellow. I probably will go back in with some brown. I should have done the brown after. But whatever. There's a lot of clogging there, so I'm just using the same paint, just rubbing it out. What is that? Dead bug? I think there's a bug in there. Got a lot of yellow there, so I'm going to go pull it back in because I don't need that much yellow there. Keep in mind what you're painting. I'm painting the sunflower, so I'm kind of making it look that way. Again, there's no real right or wrong. I just don't want all those clogs there, so I'm not even getting more paint off of my brush yet. I'm just using the paint that's stuck in my screen so that I don't see that anywhere. All right, just a little bit. That's weird. I'm going to take a dry brush, completely dry, like I didn't use it for anything yet. Let's see if I can scrub that out because I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, that worked. This is my smaller brush. Bring that paint over there, go back, get that last little doohickey. It's almost like there's a blob of dry paint that keeps moving. All right, well, that's just going to bug me, but I'll get it later. Okay, back to what I was doing. I'm just using straight yellow now. We'll add a little bit of detail to it later. Oh, I think the problem is I'm loading too much paint on my brush. So note to anybody watching, don't put that much paint on your brush. Okay, I'm going to go down to this one. Actually, it's a little bit brown too, so I'm just going to mix a bunch of colors together, see what we get. I've got black and red and green all next to each other. That'll kind of work. Oops, too much paint. So I'm going to add some of this here. Make it a slightly different color sunflower, adding a little bit more yellow. Seeing how this one's supposed to go. You know, I have no idea what this is going to look like when all is said and done. But I guess we will find out together, won't we? Oh, there's a little bit of brown stuck up there. Ooh, that's not good. All right, whatever. Okay, adding some more sunflowers down here. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I just did it. Oh well, much like before. Seems no matter what you put on with your screen, you're destined to do that. But it's okay. I can still see what I'm doing here. And I have my inspiration picture right there. So now we're becoming a real artist. We're just going at it like we want to. It's actually a little easier to see what I'm doing now, which is good. Okay. Now I've got some yellow that, I don't know why some is brighter than others. That's strange. Oh, it might have to do with it's whether it's in the sun or the shade. So these sunny ones, it looks a lot lighter, but the shady ones, it looks a lot darker. And that's all right. I'm gonna add a little green up here. You can definitely see where all my white is now, can't I? I think I'm getting too much paint on my brush in general. I'm gonna just take a paper towel, give it a wipe off. Okay, back to what I was doing. I want some green up here. So I'm gonna add a little green. I'm gonna need to add some detailing of that later, I think. with some brown and add some detail. And I've got a couple little clogs again, so I'm going to just keep wiping them till hopefully they all disappear. No guarantee, but oh, kind of got an interesting color now for my leaves here. Now I'm just kind of going completely rogue, just winging it 100%. But it looks like I should not add black because it just makes it look like the screen. All right, I'm going to wipe my brush off again. And actually, I think I'm going to switch to my smaller brush. Okay. All right, we're back at it. What do we need here? We need some leaves coming from here. So I'm going to go this direction. And that yellow is coming out brighter. Now it's just straight yellow. Again, it doesn't really matter. Do whatever makes you happy with it. The only thing you got to remember is you want to cover up all of the white background that you put on there. You don't want that showing. Add a little more bright yellow here. I'll go back in and add some brown to it as well. I think what's happening, the reason that I'm getting clogs faster is because the sun is drying it faster. So it's a little bit more of a challenge. But like I said, don't worry, we'll take care of it later if need be. But I think that is actually what is going on with this, because last time I didn't have this problem, but also I was painting underneath an awning. Now I've got the sun just shining right on me. So it's warm out here. So note to self, next time I do this, do it on a cloudy, cooler day, or at least a cloudy day. Whoops, I actually just dripped some. Okay, we'll just add a little color there. Because I'm having a lot of clogging issues now. Not good, not good at all. Maybe less paint. I'm sorry to say this is not going well. Let's see if we can pull it off. If not, what I will do is abandon ship and I'll come back once it's a little cooler out here and just go at it then. Because, like I said, we're having issues. But I'm going to keep going. I really don't want it clogged up, though. All right, let's see what we can do here. Trying to make a brown again. Brown you can get mixing all the colors together, actually. So it's kind of what I'm relying on right now. All right, let's add some more brown to the middle here. Oh, that's actually supposed to be a greenish color. All right, we're going to add some detail down here. Going back into my green. All right, you know what? I'm just going to call it a day on this right now because it's just drying way too fast. So note to self, do not do this when the sun is shining on you. Now I have one dry brush left, so I'm going to see if I can go over these things and get rid of them. Since the brush is completely dry, hopefully I'll have some luck. This one is stubborn. The majority of them are wiping away because they haven't had a complete chance to dry yet. But I don't know what it's going to look like on the other side. Right now I'm not worrying too much about the pattern. I'm just trying to get rid of the clogs. And worst comes to worst, I can always poke them out with something. But I'd prefer not to do that. All right, they only seem to have one place where it's really clogged up. I'm going to come back later when it's shadier. Proving things don't always go as we planned, but let's see. Let's take a look and see what it looks like on the other side. Well, you can't tell because the sun's shining on it. So who has a clue? But we're going to see how it works out. All right, I'll catch you on the next one.